Hobson that owns many guitars, one of which is a Gibson guitar made out of illegally sourced rosewood.
From Madagascar.
How did you get the guitar, and did you know it was rosewood from Madagascar?
No. This particular guitar in question, we're talking about the illegal one. I bought it back in the early 90s. At the time I bought it because it was really pretty, because it looked good and it played good, but in regards to the actual words, no. At the time I was completely ignorant. I bought it back in the early 90s. At the time I bought it because it was really pretty, because it looked good and it played good, but in regards to the actual words, no. At the time I was completely ignorant to where that would come from or the type of wood. It was purely, in my childish way, based on how good it looked. It looked great, but that was it.
What was your reaction when you realised that the guitar you had bought was made out of illegally sourced rosewood?
My reaction wasn't, I suppose, guilty or anything of the sort. If anything, I was kind of impressed, which I know sounds really bad, but as I said, it sort of made me feel like I had a much more rare guitar, and it made it feel more special to me. Is that probably the good answer? No, it's not a good answer as a moral human being, but it's the truth. Yeah, I felt special.
Okay. Do you think that using this type of wood changes the sound or quality of the guitar?
No, I did my homework for this as well, and no, as I was saying, the woods have a different feel. So your two major woods, you've got the rosewood and the maple. The rosewood, which is the wood in question here in this interview, it's to play, it feels really good. You don't have to treat it, you don't have to put any special coating on it or anything like that, so you get this natural wood feel. With other woods that you would use for the neck, no, you have to treat them, and they have a much slower, sticky feel to them, which is not good. In regards to sound, no, there is a strong argument that the rosewood and the particular rosewoods in question that have been made illegal sound better, and the wood, you could prove this, but at a human level, no. I would give anyone a large amount of money that could tell the difference when blindfolded. So I think the most important thing with the wood on the neck is the way it feels, not the way it sounds.
So why do you think it's in such a high demand if it sounds about the same?
People always want things they can't have. I think it's that. They've been told that it sounds better. So as a consumer, we're told that, okay, if you get Brazilian rosewood or Madagascan rosewood, then it's going to sound amazing. And as the herd sheep that we are as consumers, we just believe that and go, okay, we've been told it sounds better, so it must sound better. And then when we even play it, we placebo effect, we kind of say, oh yeah, it does sound better. No, we can't tell the difference. We just believe in what we're told. And because it's so rare as well, the price goes up. And when you spend a lot more money on something, you expect it to be better. Whether it is or not, you just kind of have to tell yourself, it's better because I spent so many thousands on it. So.
Okay. What would you say to those who illegally source the rosewood and those who use it to make their products, such as Gibson Guitars using the rosewood for their guitar necks?
What would I say to the manufacturers? Or?
The manufacturers and the loggers who do it.
I wouldn't blame the loggers per se. They're supplying a need. The complaint would be at the manufacturer's level, and they are the ones also controlling the consumer market. They're the ones telling the buyers what the buyer should want. This is the next best thing. This is what you guys want. This is what you need, and we just believe that. So the blame and the kind of any responsibility should be held at the manufacturer's level. So it's up to them to be more responsible and choose woods that are more appropriate and don't have such a negative effect.
So Gibson Guitars paid $350,000 for illegally sourcing rosewood. Do you think this amount was a great enough punishment?
I don't think the value of the money matters so much. I don't know how they decided it was £300,000. Gibson had such bad press through this, and I think that was probably far more damning on the Gibson name.
And damaging to its...
Yeah, more than 300,000. Their annual profit, 300,000, wouldn't make that much of a dent. I would also question where that 300,000 went. Did it actually go to any, make any positive effect on the situation? I doubt it. But I think the negative press, there's some photographs you can easily find online of FBI doing searches of the Gibson warehouse and things like that. That was enough to affect them as a company, far more than the £300,000.
What is your opinion on how deforestation is affecting the world? It's quite a hard question.
Yeah.
Room for interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the typical Westerner ignorant card on this one that, like most, I would say, oh, it's a bad thing, and we should do something about it, but would I actively do anything about it? Probably not. Would I keep my head in the sand and just kind of think, oh, it's a problem in a country far, far away? Then yes. We can see it's a bad thing. We see that in the press. We see that in documentaries and great things like National Geographic. That it is a major issue. But feeling so far removed in my little bubble living in London, do I have a strong opinion on it? No. Is that bad of me? Probably. But I suppose as a society and culture over here, was that it is a major issue. But feeling so far removed in my little bubble living in London. Do I have a strong opinion on it? No. Is that bad of me? Probably. But I suppose, as a society and culture over here, we're sort of, we are kept in this media bubble. We get told about it a bit, and then it goes away again. So it's a bad thing. Am I actively doing anything about it? No. Do I have any suggestions for what we could do about it? Probably not.
So you just think it's a case of us knowing it's going on, but just turning a blind eye to it, so?
I think that's a sad truth generally around the world. Of course, there's a few people doing great things about this and really trying to make a difference, and I admire them for it, and great to their efforts. But generally, the masses, I would believe I'm no different to most people in the UK, for example, who would believe, yes, it's bad and it's wrong, we should do something about it, but that's probably as far as we go.
So do you think that throughout the entire case of Gibson Guitars, the right choices are made by the people involved in it?
I don't know too much about the details. From what I've read and what I've seen in the guitar press world, I didn't notice any level of guilt in regards to Gibson. So they didn't come forward and kind of, oh, we're so sorry, and we shouldn't have done this. They were certainly kind of feeling like they were being picked on and made an example of, which they were. There's a lot of guitar manufacturers around the world, some of equal size to Gibson and some even bigger. So why Gibson was selected in particular, I don't know. That's up to the FBI who actually did that, the raid or whatever you want to call that. So from my understanding, but I might be wrong, but yes, Gibson were feeling that they were being picked on. As opposed, that's up to the FBI who actually did that, the raid or whatever you want to call that. So from my understanding, but I might be wrong, but yes, Gibson were feeling that they were being picked on. As opposed to kind of going, no, look, we've done something wrong here. This is irresponsible. We should set an example. I didn't sense any of that.
How do you think Madagascar can and should break the vicious cycle that they've gotten themselves into?
Through the illegal logging. And
no, illegal logging, the crashing of the vanilla trade.
And then using the illegal logging to try to get themselves back up, but they're still very heavily in debt.
I suppose on both sides, you've got to feel sorry for them as well. Okay, there's a country in debt, they've got something that's worth great value, and there's a demand for it around the world, so maybe it's a quick fix for them, and they're going to, let's use this method to kind of get out of debt. And you've only got to look at the extremes that Greece is going through right now and the efforts they're making to get out of debt. And they probably never will, it's just a vicious circle they've got themselves into. So, Madagascar as a country, can they be blamed for their debt? I don't know. There might be decades and decades of reason for why they're in the position they're in right now.
Okay. How do you think we should combat deforestation? It's a very general question, but...
Difficult question. What were we talking about? So we were... I can't remember.
Deforestation in Gibson Guitars.
This is that big, horrible question. Oh, we should...
It's like trying to cut
this. We'll have to cut this a bit later.
You try it.
No, we keep going.
Cut it out.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
We are so making bloopers.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having a bit of...
So how do you think we should combat deforestation?
I think, like we were saying earlier, we were talking about the consumers are basically needing what they're told. We don't know what we need. It's up to these great, marketing campaigns and manufacturers that kind of go, oh, this is the next best thing, and let's buy one of these. So in regards to deforestation, if you apply that same principle, that we're told we need these different things. All the focus, from my understanding, is at the logging side of things. So the sanctions imposed on these countries and on the logging companies and things like that, and controlling the amount of volume that's being done and gone through and things. But my suggestion would be maybe to flip it on its head and look at the other side in regards to actually controlling the need and shifting the consumers to maybe a different type of material or product for them to focus on for a while. Maybe if the problem is with a particular type of wood, if we go back to guitars, as we were saying, rosewood from Brazil, just because we're told it's the best. But Indian rosewood is just as good. Maybe it doesn't look as pretty, but as the manufacturers could shift the consumers to focus on the alternative wood, which at the moment has a large supply and isn't in problems. And while the consumers are for decades or whatever going down that whole new route, the other supply can recover. And then again, like crop circling, you could rotate it back. Maybe that's a far out there, completely ludicrous suggestion, but just my idea. But so I say focus on changing what we need as opposed to actually dealing with the problem at its source. Okay.
I'm just going to introduce him again because of last time it didn't work very well. This is Wayne Thompson, who owns many guitars, one of which is a Gibson guitar, illegally made from illegally sourced rosewood.
From Madagascar.
At the moment, it has a large supply and isn't in problems. And while the consumers are, for decades or whatever going down that whole new route, the other supply can recover. And then again, like crop circling, you could rotate it back. Maybe that's a far out there, completely ludicrous suggestion, but just my idea. But so I say focus on changing what we need as opposed to actually dealing with the problem at its source. Okay.